house. So I'm climbing up on the signs because that's what we do as street artists. And you jump to grab the ladder. If you guys ever wondered how graffiti artists get up there, listen. So you jump to grab the ladder, and when you jump and you grab the ladder gives and it comes down. Because we don't have those huge hooks to pull them down because we're criminals. So you jump and you grab it and you fall down. And so it didn't let go. It stayed stationary. So I, the next day, had a lot of pain in my arm, and I was sure that's what it was. It's just a work hazard, right? So I went to countless doctors, as anybody in this room who's not a doctor and has MS or knows somebody with MS, you know. They say go to a chiropractor. They say go to a massage therapist. They say go to a psychiatrist a lot of times, because there's nothing wrong with you, right? You are crazy. Which I am, totally different subject. But, so I go, and after a year and a half of this incredible pain, I'm diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which was so interesting to me because I had no idea that people with MS had pain. There was nothing in any TV commercial or any brochure or any talk that I'd ever seen of anybody suffering from pain. It was just, you were in a wheelchair. That's all you were. That you're condemned to that wheelchair for the rest of your life. That's your whole life. You're done. You're in a wheelchair. And that's bullshit. And one of the reasons why I decided to take on these murals and paintings and do this is because that's not who we are. We may be in a wheelchair. My daughter, Coco, may have autism. That's not all she is. That's the last thing I should use to describe her. What she is she speaks 5 languages. Possibly the most beautiful girl to ever grace the planet. Funny, smart, beautiful. The worst hair, it takes forever to brush. It just drives me insane. So MS should be the last thing I use to describe myself. And every single doctor here, whether they say it to you or not, is trying to make that possible. So, I just did this show in Los Angeles, in this gallery in Beverly Hills, about survivors. Every single oil painting I did was of somebody who survived something. None of them analogous to each other, all separate. One man had stepped on a bomb in Afghanistan, lost his leg, lost the bomb-sniffing dog he had. One woman had been sexually trafficked for 12 years. Oh, wow. Lived in a dog cage in Los Angeles. 2 girls who had met in Texas were best friends. One was an illegal immigrant from Mexico, and one was a refugee from Zimbabwe. And they became best friends in this high school. Lost their families. And so I did a portrait of them together. I did a portrait of a woman who was raised in a cult. I was the only person in there who had a medical condition. Everybody else had overcome something that was either put on them or was emotional. And I was the only person in there. I didn't have any other cancer survivors, nothing else. It was just me with MS. But the whole point of the show was to show these people alive. We are bombarded by images of bleeding children from Syria. So as we look at these images on the front of the New York Times, and I love the gray lady, don't get me wrong, but as we look at these, there's so much destruction. There is so much clouds of smoke. There's so much blood. You look at it and you're like, there's nothing I can do. I wouldn't even know where to start unpeeling this onion. So the idea of the show was to show these people happy. They survived. They're thriving. They may be refugees, they may be immigrants, they may have lost their legs in Afghanistan, they may be sexually trafficked, whatever your issue is, alcoholism, everything I tried to cover. They were surviving. So next to each portrait I had this friend of mine from the LA Times, this writer, and she wrote this really great interview of each one, and would say this is what they went through, and this is how they survived, and this is what they're doing now. So that somebody doesn't have to walk through life saying, I was sexually trafficked. She can say, I work for this really great company now that does whatever. What has happened to you, whether it was emotional or physical, is the last thing you should be describing about yourself. That is my goal with the Survivor Show, and that is the goal of every doctor here. So I started smoking cigarettes again recently. Save your booze, I will quit, but I'm getting divorced. So that's what we do. My entire life is not about my diet and my medical care. I'm getting divorced right now, so I'm gonna have a cigarette. That's gonna happen. No one can stop me. And I'll quit. I told my kids I'd quit in 4 days, so I'm gonna smoke like a carton of cigarettes in 4 days. That's gonna happen. Just 1,000 cigarettes in my mouth. And you know what? That's fine. And if you're on a special diet, go off it for a day. Deal with it. If you're in a wheelchair, figure out a way to climb the wall, because I've been in a wheelchair. I've woken up blind. I know exactly what it's like. I've lost everything. Yet still, I'm out there painting. On the worst days, on the hardest days, because first, mom. Second, art. Third, you. And that is who I am, and MS is not in my description. So every single doctor who is here is trying to get you to have a life. There's no way you're going to be cured, right? We know that. There's no way to cure my problems. We know that. Since there's no way to cure us, and I know that they're trying to help us, and the whole point of this symposium and all the drugs and all the treatments and even the van where people are signing their names, everything that everybody here is trying to do is to try and better your life so that you can live. So that you can be alive. So you can do things that you're not supposed to do for a day. Make that call to that ex. You know what I'm saying? You guys, everybody in here knows what I'm talking about. Everybody. Live. Give us something to paint. Give me somebody to paint. Because that's what the doctors are trying to do. That's how they paint, is by seeing you succeed. I did a painting for this hospital, and I'm going to be outside signing them and selling them, and I'm not keeping any of the money from it. It all goes back to the hospital. And if you're interested in my film, you can feel free to donate to that too. My story's not over. And for every single person in this room, MS or not, your story is not over. Anything you missed, if you thought when you drew in the 6th grade, you thought, maybe I could be an artist, or I really like archery and I never went back, go back and do it. Give me something to paint. Thank you.